Thank you, Timo. And great, that's it. Just to follow on from our last speaker there from Google, I'm somebody who thinks a lot about the protection of players, the protection of children, and consumer protection in general. And I'm a little bit, I want to say a few words about mobile gaming, and no doubt we'll come on to this on the panel itself. But certainly, in terms of the mobile device in your pocket or the tablet that you own, that is the future with gambling and gaming, certainly. Desktop is becoming pretty irrelevant. The trouble is that there are some fantastic protections for players available on desktop, but those protections aren't generally available on your laptop, on your phone, unfortunately. So we need to be encouraging gambling operators to be doing something about that. And the reason I say that is because we've surveyed the top 20 online gambling companies in Europe and looked at their player protection provisions, and they don't do very well on their mobile offer. So something needs to change. Shall I dance? Okay, social gaming. What is social gaming? You don't have to pay in order to play, essentially, with social gaming that has a gambling dimension. It's something that you would do normally through social media, and there would be a strong gambling theme to this. But it doesn't meet the legal definition of gambling because it doesn't have those three important aspects of the consideration, the chance, and the prize. So legally, it doesn't qualify. But in some ways, social gaming is a bit like having a lottery, but you don't have to award prizes if you don't want to. I'm going to be quite provocative in some of the things I say, and hopefully the other panelists will come back, and you will as well, on what I'm saying. But remember, I'm concerned about consumer protection more than anything else. Facebook is the big medium for social gaming. So let's look at the US, which is a huge market. And there are two main things that happen. We heard this morning about fantasy sports. Fantasy sports is massive in the US. 1 in 5 males do fantasy sports of some sort or other over there. It's incredible. All this began to happen about 10 years ago, and the revenues for social now are 10 times those of online gambling in the US. So a massive market. And what makes it, I think, really interesting is that the offer is superb. The graphics, the design, the engagement, absolutely amazing. We were talking about innovation earlier on. David talked about his product, which is probably the newest thing out there in the online gambling world, actually. But it's boring compared to what you can get on social gaming. Very boring. And the people who are designing these things are young and innovative, unlike many of the people involved in online gambling. That was a very provocative comment. So, fantasy sports is massive. Look at the revenue figures, 3.3 billion, an increase from 1 billion in 2011, and you just need to pay a little as an entry fee, and then you're in there. But there are all sorts of things you can do. The entry fees increase as the levels increase, and this is common, and some quite nice cash prizes. Here we are. This is Slotomania, which on the bottom left there. Now, Slotomania was bought by a company that actually now belongs to the Caesars empire, Caesars casinos in the US. So we're beginning to see a blurring of the boundaries between traditional bricks and mortar casino establishments and social gaming. Slotomania has something like, my son tells me, 13 million likes on Facebook. 13 million, which is quite astounding. Zynga, I wish there was somebody from Zynga here. Unfortunately, there isn't. It'd be really great to hear from them. They are massive and very knowledgeable about all of the commercial aspects of this. Does it help anybody? Does it help players? Well, it's a nice way of introducing you to gambling products. And of course, the internet gambling companies hope that you'll migrate from playing for free on social over to mainstream gambling. But unfortunately, the take-up rate isn't particularly big. It's around about 2% last time I looked. But you know, there's a possibility also with internet gaming of playing for free at the beginning. So that's the freemium model. The scale of this is huge. 200 million social gaming players. And when you look at the revenue for online gambling in the US, 130 million, well, social is 10 times the value of that now. Quite amazing. So Candy Crush are being crushed by what's being offered by Zynga and others, Double Down, Caesars Interactive. Anybody play Candy Crush here? I just recently found my daughter of 11 playing on it. I was appalled, but never mind. Gamification, we talked about this morning. Game-like characteristics to get people hooked on different things. We all do it, apparently. It's the way forward. But there are big challenges, I think, for this whole sector. One of the problems is a lack of age verification. And I've got a slide on that in a minute. If you're a youngster and you start social gaming, the chances are you'll start gambling for real earlier, and the chances are that you'll then develop a gambling problem much more easily as a result of that experience. So I think we need to think very carefully about how we stop youngsters being attracted to this. I'll just come back to that one for a moment. The whole point, of course, about social gaming is adaptive. You know, they've got algorithms built into the games that respond to how you play, and therefore you can find yourself winning a great deal more than you would if you were just playing on a legal online gambling offer. So that's a little bit deceptive if you're a vulnerable young person and you think that gambling is an easy thing to do and you're going to win big, because actually the real experience of online internet gambling will be quite different. Potential challenge for the lotteries, I think, because there are social games now that offer the ability to pay in for a good cause, a charity perhaps in some way, with these games. But there are big, big potential obstacles in the US for all of this. The American Gaming Association, which is mega powerful and mega well connected, really don't like this sort of thing very much. And they're waging a war on internet cafes, sweepstake cafes. There's $10 billion a year being waged in internet cafes over there. And the AGA are not happy. So beware, because the regulators all listen to what the AGA have to say. Oh dear, here's a Facebook page. Now, my 15-year-old son would find the middle one quite interesting. He can sign up to Facebook at the age of 13, so sexy poker might just be something that he thinks is worth exploring. I'm not very happy about that as a parent, but what can I do? There it is, easily accessible for him. Top slide there. Click the picture to start playing. Highly addictive. This is an advertising feature, highly addictive. No online gambling company could get away with associating the stickiness of their game with gambling addiction. Wouldn't happen, but it's okay on Facebook. It's okay on social gaming. Amazing. You pay to go up levels and buy all sorts of chips. So how free is free, I wonder? You can pay with all sorts of credit cards and all sorts of different means of getting your money from you to them. Interestingly, in America, and I'm focusing on America because I think it's a very good indication of the future, the big players on social gaming are spending about $700 a month on this. Those are the big players, which is the average amount that a player plays on internet gambling. So huge scope there. Underage permissions, this is on Facebook, blah-de-blah-de-blah, you must be 13 years old. Yeah, okay, I'm 13 years old, even though I'm 10. So what? A few assumptions that are around. Would regulation kill social gaming? A lot of the social gaming providers think it would. I'm not so sure. It's really benefited the gambling industry in many ways. A lot of companies, actually big companies, want to be regulated as a way of getting into new markets and proving their credentials with customers. Responsible gambling is good for business. It's all about creating a sustainable product that will last, that ensures that your customers trust you. You're a respected brand. It's easy, simple logic. And social gaming, prizes aren't a big issue. Well, for people who are addicted to gambling and who are becoming addicted to gaming, it's not about the money. It's not about the prize. So winning is absolutely not essential at all. You get into the zone. That's how you become a gambling addict. But it's not all bad news, because coming back to my earlier point, I really believe that on the social gaming sphere could innovate really well here to create opportunities for people to be protected, to keep kids out, and to keep players engaged in a way that's going to be realistic for them. So the potential is certainly there for everybody. So we use this little acronym, which I'd like you all to remember, GRADE. So gambling-like games, what we need to do is introduce responsible gaming and consumer protection features. We need to introduce age controls. We need to have all that lovely data that these guys have, and Google certainly have, available for research so we can know more about the potential harms. And we need to educate players that what they're getting into is something that they may want to think about carefully. So all this stuff far outstrips anything in the traditional gambling sphere, and by traditional I mean online gambling as well, because that's becoming pretty traditional with the odd exception. But there are big challenges and some really big opportunities as well to protect players. But this is here to stay. It's new, it's exciting, it's disruptive, it's innovative. It's all the things that traditional gambling companies have not been for some time. So that's all I wanted to say, just to fill in for the absence of one of our panelists, and to throw in some provocative thoughts which might come out a little bit more in the panel discussion.